Stop everything you're doing right now because the president just dropped a bombshell that could put thousands of dollars directly into your pocket. And this has nothing to do with the $2,000 stimulus checks we've been talking about for weeks. This is completely separate money, brand new cash. And if you're one of the 22 million Americans with Obamacare or ACA insurance, you need to hear this immediately because this could change everything about how you pay for healthcare starting next year. I'm Tony from Retirees Benefits, and I just spent the last 3 hours reading through Trump's Truth Social posts, congressional statements, and expert analysis, so you don't have to wade through all the political noise. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound almost too good to be true, but it's real. It's being debated in Congress right now, and you need to understand exactly what this means for your wallet before open enrollment ends. So do me a quick favor, smash that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and helps me reach more people who desperately need this information. All right, let's get into exactly what's happening. Here's what Trump posted on Truth Social, and I'm putting his exact words on screen right now. Quote, I am recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad healthcare provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so that they can purchase their own much better healthcare and have money left over. End quote. Now, let me translate that from political speak into plain English because this is massive. Right now, this very second, the federal government is writing checks for billions and billions of dollars to big insurance companies like Anthem, Blue Cross, United Healthcare, all the major players. Those checks are supposed to lower your premiums if you buy insurance through the ACA marketplace, through healthcare.gov or your state exchange. But here's the thing, you never see that money. It goes straight from the government to the insurance company, and supposedly your premium gets reduced. You're supposed to just trust that the math works out and that these companies are passing those savings on to you. Trump is saying no more. No more handing billions to insurance companies and hoping they do the right thing. Instead, cut checks directly to the American people. Give you the cash. Let you decide what to do with it. Let you shop around, let you choose your own coverage, let you keep whatever money is left over after you buy your insurance. That's the proposal. And it has Republicans fired up and Democrats absolutely furious. Now, before we go any further, I need to make something crystal clear because I know this is going to confuse people, and I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea. This ACA payment is not the $2,000 tariff dividend stimulus check we've been discussing. That's a separate thing, totally different pot of money. The $2,000 payment that Trump has been talking about would go to most Americans regardless of your insurance situation. It's supposed to come from tariff revenue. We've covered that extensively on this channel. This new ACA proposal is on top of that. This is specifically for people who currently have insurance through the Obamacare marketplace. So if both of these go through, and that's a big if, but if they do, you could potentially get both checks. The $2,000 payment plus whatever amount comes from redirecting your ACA subsidies. 2 separate payments, 2 separate programs. Do not let anyone tell you one replaces the other. They don't. They stack. All right, so who exactly would get this money if it happens? Let's be very specific here because eligibility matters. This would go to anyone currently enrolled in an ACA marketplace plan. If you're buying your health insurance through healthcare.gov, that's you. If you're using your state's ACA exchange, that's you. If you're getting subsidies right now that lower your monthly premium, that's definitely you. We're talking about approximately 22 million Americans. This is not a small group of people. This is a massive chunk of the population. Now, how much money are we talking about? That's the question everyone wants answered, right? Trump didn't specify an exact dollar amount in his post, and honestly, it's going to vary wildly depending on your individual situation, your household size, your income level, and how much subsidy you're currently receiving. Some people might get a few $100s. Some people could get several thousand. We just don't know yet because there's no formal bill with actual numbers. But here's what we do know. The government is currently spending about $35 billion per year on these enhanced ACA subsidies. $35 billion. That money is going to insurance companies right now. If that money gets redirected to the 22 million people enrolled in ACA plans, you're looking at an average of about $1,500 to $2,000 per person. Now, that's just rough math. Your actual amount would depend on your specific circumstances. But we're not talking about pocket change here. We're talking about real money that could make a real difference in your life. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather have $1,500 in my bank account than trust that some insurance company is lowering my premium by the right amount. I think most people feel the same way. The question is whether Congress can actually make this happen. Let's talk about the reality check here, because I'm not going to blow smoke and tell you this is a done deal. It's not. This is a proposal. It's an idea. It's something Trump is pushing for, and it's something Republicans are debating. But there are massive obstacles in the way. First, Congress has to approve this. And if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you know that Congress just went through a 43-day government shutdown. 43 days. The longest shutdown in American history. And you know what they were fighting about? ACA subsidies. This exact issue. Democrats wanted to extend the current system where subsidies go to insurance companies. Republicans said no. The government shut down. Federal workers didn't get paid. Services stopped. Air travel got disrupted. Food stamp benefits were in limbo, all because they couldn't agree on this. So the idea that they're suddenly going to come together and pass Trump's plan, I'm skeptical. I'm not saying it's impossible, but getting Democrats and Republicans to agree on healthcare is like trying to herd cats while the cats are on fire. It's chaos. Second, let's talk about what this actually means in practice. If you currently have subsidized ACA insurance and suddenly you're getting a check instead of having your premium lowered, what happens to your coverage? Do you lose your plan? Do you have to shop for new insurance? Do premiums go up for everyone because insurance companies aren't getting those government payments anymore? These are real questions with real consequences. And for someone who has a chronic condition, who has doctors they trust, who has prescriptions they rely on, getting a check might sound great in theory, but could be a disaster in practice if it means losing access to care. Health policy experts are warning about something called a death spiral. Here's how it works. Healthy people who don't use much health care would take their check and either buy cheaper bare-bones insurance or just pocket the money and go without coverage. That leaves only sick, expensive patients in the ACA marketplace. Insurance companies see their costs skyrocket because they're only covering high-risk people, so they raise premiums through the roof. More healthy people drop out. Premiums go even higher. The whole system collapses. That's the nightmare scenario that Democrats and health policy experts are screaming about. Now, Republicans say that won't happen. They say competition will keep prices down. They say people will shop smarter. They say insurance companies have been ripping us off for years, and this forces them to actually compete. Who's right? I don't know. Nobody knows because we've never tried this before. Third, timing. Even if this passed tomorrow, which it absolutely will not, but even if it did, implementing a completely new system of direct payments to 22 million Americans would take months. The infrastructure doesn't exist. The IRS would have to set up payment systems. The Department of Health and Human Services would have to figure out eligibility. Banks would have to process millions of deposits. We're not talking about flipping a switch. We're talking about building an entirely new bureaucratic system from scratch. So even in the best case scenario where this passes quickly, you're not seeing money hit your account until spring or summer of next year at the earliest. And that's if everything goes perfectly, which in government almost never happens. Now, here's what I find fascinating about all of this. If you've been watching Trump's moves this year, there's a clear pattern. He keeps proposing ways to put money directly into people's hands. The $2,000 tariff dividend, the proposal to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits, the proposal to eliminate taxes on tips and overtime. And now this, redirecting ACA subsidies from insurance companies straight to consumers. There's a consistent theme here. Cut out the middleman. Give people cash, let them make their own decisions. Now, whether you think that's good policy or bad policy probably depends on your politics, but what's undeniable is that there's a strategy here focused on direct payments. The challenge is that every single one of these proposals costs money. A lot of money. And we're already dealing with a $37 trillion national debt. Republicans are worried about adding to the deficit. Democrats are worried about gutting healthcare. Moderates are worried about getting voted out if premiums skyrocket. Everyone's worried about something, and that makes passing anything incredibly difficult. But here's the counter-argument that Trump and Republicans are making. If the government is already spending $35 billion a year on ACA subsidies, and you're just changing where that money goes, you're not adding to the deficit. You're just redirecting existing spending. The question becomes, what's more effective and what's more fair? Is it better to give money to insurance companies and trust them to lower your premiums? Or is it better to give money directly to you and let you shop for the best deal? That's an economic debate. That's a philosophical debate, and reasonable people can disagree. What I will say is this: insurance companies have not exactly earned our trust over the years. They deny claims, they raise rates, they have confusing networks, they fight you on coverage. So I understand the appeal of just taking the money away from them and giving it to regular people. At the same time, I also understand the concern that if you just hand people cash, some of them won't buy insurance at all, and then we're right back to the pre-Obamacare situation where millions of Americans had no coverage and emergency rooms were overflowing with uninsured patients who couldn't pay their bills. All right, so what should you actually do with this information? Let me give you a very clear action plan because I don't want you making mistakes based on proposals that might never happen. First, if you currently get insurance through the ACA marketplace, do not cancel your coverage. Do not stop paying your premiums. Do not make any changes based on money that is not in your account. This is a proposal. It is not law. It has not been voted on. It has not been signed. Do not gamble with your health insurance hoping that a check is coming. Keep your coverage active until something is actually passed and you know for certain what's happening. Second, if you're on Medicare, this probably doesn't affect you directly because Medicare is a completely separate program from the ACA marketplace. However, you still need to handle your Medicare annual enrollment period, which is happening right now. You have until December 7th to make changes to your Medicare coverage for next year. Do not miss that deadline. Make sure your plan covers your doctors, your prescriptions, everything you need. Don't assume your current plan is still the best option. Plans change every year. Review your coverage. Make adjustments if necessary. Third, stay informed but stay skeptical. There are a lot of proposals floating around Washington right now. Some will become law, most won't. Don't count on money that hasn't been approved. Don't make financial decisions based on political promises. Hope for the best. Plan for what you know is certain. Fourth, if you're struggling with healthcare costs right now today, look into assistance that's available right now today. Many states have additional programs beyond federal ACA subsidies. Nonprofit organizations offer help with prescription costs. Community health centers provide care on a sliding scale based on income. Don't wait for a maybe payment when there might be real help available immediately. I've done videos about assistance programs you can access right now. Check the description. Check the cards above. Get help if you need it. Let me clarify one more time because this is confusing and I want you to understand exactly what we're potentially looking at. Payment number 1, the $2,000 stimulus tariff dividend rebate that would go to most Americans making under $100,000 a year regardless of insurance. This has been discussed for weeks. It's not law, but it's been a consistent talking point from Trump. Payment number 2, this new ACA subsidy redirection that would go specifically to people with ACA marketplace insurance. Instead of subsidies going to insurance companies, that money would come to you as a direct payment. If you have ACA insurance and both of these happen, you could get both payments. They're separate. They're not connected. They come from different sources. But neither one is guaranteed. Both need congressional approval. Both face significant opposition. Both have practical challenges. So yes, there's potential for substantial money to reach Americans directly. But we are still firmly in the proposal stage for both. Look, I know healthcare is frustrating. I know insurance is confusing. I know dealing with premiums, deductibles, co-pays, networks, all of it is exhausting. And I know when you hear about potential payments, it's easy to either get really excited or really cynical depending on your personality. Here's my take. The fact that there's consistent advocacy at the highest levels of government for direct payments to Americans is meaningful. It creates political pressure. It keeps these ideas in the conversation. Whether or not this specific ACA proposal becomes reality, the direction seems clear. There's political will to put more money directly into people's hands rather than filtering it through corporations or bureaucracies. But I've also been around long enough to see countless proposals that sounded amazing and went absolutely nowhere. So I'm cautiously optimistic but realistic. What I'm going to do is monitor this situation like a hawk. The second there's concrete movement, when Congress votes, when bills get signed, when payment dates get announced, I will make a video immediately and break it down for you in plain English with no political spin. If you want those updates the second they happen, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications by clicking the bell. YouTube's algorithm is brutal. It doesn't show videos to everyone who's subscribed unless you specifically tell it you want notifications. So subscribe and hit the bell. That way you won't miss anything. I also want you to drop a comment right now and let me know. Would you rather have ACA subsidies go directly to you as cash, or do you prefer the current system where they lower your premiums automatically? I'm genuinely curious what you think because this affects millions of people and your opinion matters. So take 10 seconds, write a comment, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, share it with anyone you know who has ACA insurance. They need to know what's being discussed. They need to understand what might change. And they need to know not to make any rash decisions until something is actually signed into law. Check out my other videos about assistance programs, Medicare enrollment, Social Security updates, all the stuff that actually affects your daily life and your wallet. I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed. Stay skeptical, and don't believe anything until the money is actually in your account.